All right, and there we go. Awesome. So we're going to kickstart today's AMA. Welcome everyone. Thanks for coming. And we have a bunch of amazing updates for you guys. Despite the Lunar New Year, our team has been hard at work, and we have a bunch of new features popping up over the next few days and the next couple of weeks. So February is definitely going to be an interesting month, and there are a lot of things to look forward to, right? So without further ado, we're just gonna head right in. So for those of you guys who are new, um, quick introduction on Arcaden. We're basically a play-to-earn RPG platform, right? So we allow users to play games, you win NFTs, and you earn rewards, right? And our focus is really all about creating a casual, enjoyable, and sustainable earning experience for our users, right? And that's super important for us, and we believe that you don't need a AAA game to have fun. It's really all about the mechanics and whether or not it makes sense to the end user from the user's perspective. So we've put in a lot of effort into designing it, right? And right now, on Arcaden, this is pretty much how the assets flow. So not going to give a lecture on this, but bottom line is you essentially top up using Salad tokens to purchase credits on Arcaden. You earn shards, you claim collectibles, NFTs, and you earn M-Salad, which you can then convert to tokens to withdraw after. So in light of this, um, the next few features that are upcoming, most of you would be very excited to hear this, is of course all of the NFT collections that we've been working on for the longest time, right? So we're going to be kickstarting with the Arcaden Materials NFTs, followed by the Arcaden Weapons NFTs, the Arcaden Avatars, the Solid Diamond, the Moxie Reveal, and then of course like our main feature for today that we'll be talking about is the questing board, right? So I'm just going to go through this really quickly. And if any of you guys have any questions as we go along, feel free to drop them on the chat and I'll look through them after I'm done going through the details that I'm sharing with you, right? So Arcaden Materials, some of you guys would be familiar if you've been, minting the NFTs before or even the collectibles. These would look very familiar to you. The main difference in what you see now is that there is a brand new frame, right? And even though it's a small thing, but I honestly think it looks super um, thick, and there are a couple of changes, to differentiate it from the other forms of the asset. So when you look at these are the NFT assets, they've already been completed. Obviously, there'll be 3D animated videos, but for the purpose of this slideshow, not able to put that in. So with the new frames, what you'll be able to see is the category of the NFT at the top right hand corner. So what you'll see here is basically kind of like a materials icon, right? It's like a mixing bowl of sorts with a random tentacle sticking out. And then at the bottom left corner, what you have is the rarity of the material or the NFT. So we have like common, super rare, and legendary, right? So this is pretty straightforward. We have, I think, about 20 odd NFTs that are materials related. So all of your gems from Purple to Rainbow, the souls, some of you have the sapphire orbs, the ruby runes, those from the previous campaigns, as well as several new ones that we'll be releasing over time, right? So this is how you differentiate between the materials, right, or the different assets. If you guys minted our NFTs at the very beginning, these were through the Galaxy platform and what we call the V1 gems. And these were on the BNB chain ERC721s. We've then allowed users to convert these into collectibles, right? So collectibles would have sort of like a roundish frame. The V1 gems have no frames whatsoever. For the collectibles, these are off-chain assets in your Arcaden account. And with the release of the upcoming minting feature, you will be able to convert your collectibles into NFTs on the Arcaden Materials new contract, right? So these will be ERC 1155, the good stuff. It'll be on Polygon chain. Really, really cheap for you guys to mint as well as to transfer and trade. And of course, we'll be able to trade on OpenSea again, thank goodness, since BNB chain NFTs are no longer supported. So that's also really good for our community, right? So the feature on the left, Burn Island, was what we released previously. So this allowed users to burn their V1 gems and convert them into collectibles. And what we are planning to release early next week is the Minting Hub. So for the Minting Hub, you will be allowed to convert your collectible into basically the V2 version of the NFT. All right, so this feature will be going out. We'll be releasing the smart contracts as well. We finally managed to iron out all and any issues that we can think of, and we're pretty confident that things are going to work out. Fingers crossed. All right, so that's pretty. That's it for materials. Next we have Arcaden weapons, right? So this one you guys are definitely going to be super hyped about. There are a bunch of weapons that we have designed and created, but it has not been released, whether as collectibles or as NFTs before. But as you can see, the new frames are pretty much similar. The only difference is that next to the tier or the rarity, you actually have a number there, right? So we can see C4, which is basically one of our Discord members, but also it basically represents common tier 4, and then you have UC5 and L1, right, which is like uncommon tier 5 and legendary tier 1s, right? So what are these tiers? Basically, you are going to have different variations of the same weapon. If you see the example I showed here, you can essentially go from tier 1, which by default all weapons will be at tier 1. You'll be able to upgrade the tiers all the way to the tier 5, and then eventually you will get what we call the evolution weapons, right? So these will have a red star. The goal is basically to upgrade your weapons to an evolution weapon stage, and that's when you can start to level it up, and it gives you more points, etc. So these were some of the numbers that we shared before. It's basically just some examples, but essentially for you to upgrade the tiers, you need multiple copies of the same weapon. So if you guys have like 12 copies of a rainbow sword or something, you're basically one away from getting a rainbow sword, basically tier 4. This is an old screenshot, apologies for that, but it should be +1 to +5. But you would get to this tier if you have enough copies of the same weapon, and if it's not a weapon that you're planning to upgrade, you can trade them on the marketplaces and grab the ones that you actually need. And yeah, once you get your weapons to the evolution stage, you're essentially able to level them up, and leveling them up increases the combat points that the weapons give you. Higher your level, the more points. So that's pretty much it for weapons and materials. The next thing that we wanted to share was about the Arcadian avatars, right? So you guys have seen the initial version go out. The swordsmen, both male and female, we've been working on some of the new clothes to match the jobs, and we have several other iterations that we're planning to release pretty soon. So some of the jobs are like the swordsman, we had the mages, the thieves, pretty standard stuff in any RPG. Each of them will have unique animations. And yeah, like you'll soon be able to mint these into NFTs, right? So brings us to essentially the crux of what all of these NFTs are going to be used for. Essentially what we call the quest board, right? And these are still a work in progress, but it's just to give you guys an idea, sort of what to expect. So when you go to quests on Arcaden, essentially you'll be able to pick which quest you want to go on, right? And each user will have a limited number of attempts per day. You'll be charged like a small amount of credits per try. Um, and essentially it's a one click to earn. That's what I'm calling it, right? So if you click on the quest, it will immediately run the RNG to see whether you're successful or not, and it will calculate the drops. You'll get MSL shards as well as collectibles as rewards, depending on the quest, right? So in order to determine um, whether you're successful on the quest or not, what you essentially need is combat points, right? Which is what we call CP. So on this page, you are going to have a main character, which you would have to stake. If you have Arcadian, you would stake an Arcadian. If you have a Moxie or a Salad Diamond temporarily, you'll be able to stake that, right? For Cell Diamond and Moxie holders, you will be able to unlock 10 weapon slots. This will be, and each weapon that you stake will add to your total combat points, right? So definitely owning a Cell Diamond or a Moxie gives you a huge advantage. If you're not able to afford it or you're not, willing to purchase it, you can just start off with an Arcadian, because maybe, you just want to focus on 3 weapons for a start. You don't have enough resources to upgrade 10 weapons at a go, then that's why we came up with, some alternatives for our members, right? So quests will have 2 main variations. The first version is going to come out as challenges. So, basically instant gratification, right? It's like, just go there, basically stake your NFTs once, and every time you click on the quest, it's like instantly calculates the results for you. Very similar to what you guys are doing for daily rewards now. And we have about 20 quests with different rewards that we've already planned out. All of these will have the accompanying graphics. We're also working on some pretty cool animations just to make the whole experience like really awesome for the users, right? And then for adventures, that one is something that we're working on and will come later on. But essentially, if you're the idle game kind of guy, you don't even want to log in to claim your rewards daily. You can basically just stake your NFTs and leave it there for a month, and come back a month later to collect the rewards. So we're still working on that, but when we have more details, we'll be sharing them in future AMAs such as this one. So rewards differ depending on the type of quest you go on. Obviously, if it's a more difficult quest, the reward is going to be higher, but you also require a higher combat point, right? And then, of course, like owning, the different NFTs are going to be to your advantage. And I believe we've pretty much covered everything, quick and easy. I think the one thing that it's not in the slides, because we're keeping it a surprise for now, is basically the Moxie reveal, right? So I think 2 things. One is um, we are migrating the contract because we realized that the original Salad Diamond contract on ETH is pretty expensive, and there are some features that we want to include for the owners that we don't really want them to pay gas on ETH at this point in time, like 50 times, right? So we're switching it to Matic. Existing holders, we're just going to be airdropping the new one to you once the contract is completed. Some of you guys have purchased the collectible on Arcaden itself. So for those of you who own the collectibles, you'll be able to mint them through the minting hub. Again, once the contract is completed. I understand that if you got the collectibles version, you're not able to claim the daily rewards. No worries. We will distribute, the shard rewards to you as we have all the records as to when you started purchasing it. So no worries on that. Um, but yeah, the first thing is we want to change the chain. And of course, the second thing is we need to accommodate the staking contracts that we have developed. So the original one was on 1155. Unfortunately for characters, we kind of need them to be on 721 standard. So some minor adjustments, and this is something that unfortunately we overlooked, but it's also one of the reasons why for everything else it takes so long, because it's not just a minting contract on its own, but it's like the next 10 features we want to build. Do we have the functions built into the minting contract so that all these other features can be developed faster, right? So that's it for the Solid Diamond. And the second thing is the Moxie reveal. So this is something that we haven't talked about very much because it has been a challenge in a variety of ways. So first of all, just to give you guys a better idea, what we're doing essentially has not been done before on such a large scale, right? Which is basically a very intricate 3D animated NFT. If you look at all the blue chip collections, there's a reason why most of them are stills, and most of them are 2D, just because it is very, very resource heavy to generate videos compared to pictures, right? So to generate a still version of the NFT, we could do 10,000, variations in 10 minutes, right? Whereas like for video rendering, probably takes about like 15 to 20 minutes even. So that is a challenge that we've been trying to overcome pretty successfully. Um, so that was something that we had to deal with for quite a bit. And the second thing was we wanted to have a large variety of traits so that there is as little overlap as possible for holders, right? Because you really want to have a Moxie that's unique to you and you alone. So it's kind of like the chicken and an egg thing, right? Where it's like we want to launch it. Well, it's not really a chicken and egg, but it's like a conundrum, right? We want to launch it quickly, but we also want to do it well. And developing, 400 traits takes a long time. And we have different animations that we want to introduce, et cetera, et cetera. So the way that we have worked around it is we have decided to essentially work on a feature that would allow you to, transform your Moxie, right? That's what we're calling it, I guess. And, we plan to release the collection with a smaller number of traits. So instead of the original, say, 400, we'll probably just do 100, right? And we'll generate all the variations. These will some of them would look the same, not would they won't be completely unique, but the Moxie will be generated. And then what we're planning to do is we will be releasing traits in the form of individual NFTs, right? So let's say a different hat, a different outfit, a different weapon, a different animation, even a different platform, a different background, right? So we will be releasing every trait as an individual NFT, and these will be airdropped to all the holders through a mystery box, so you don't know which trait you're gonna get. And yeah, once you have these traits, you can burn them together with your original Moxie and transform them into whatever you wish, right? So basically, it's a customizable NFT that we're trying to build here. Um, and essentially, that allows us to overcome the roadblock of having to wait more months just to get it out there. Instead of doing that, we can just get it out there and then have something new every week, right? Which I think is a much more enjoyable experience. So airdrop season is coming. Uh, there's a bunch of other stuff that we're planning to do as well, but I'm not able to disclose at this point in time. But probably, in the near future, we will be sharing more about it to the rest of the audience, right? So I think that is pretty much it. So I am gonna take a quick drink of water and read through the chat. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. Okay, so I think I saw one question which is from High on Desk. We are deploying our contracts on Polygon. Yep, so that is definitely confirmed. We are already testing it on testnet, just finalizing some details. I believe the contract will be deployed either today or early tomorrow onto mainnet, and then we'll be running some tests before releasing it to the public. No worries, no worries. All right. Um, yeah, I think, is there any other questions? Otherwise, I guess today would be an early one, thank goodness. Maybe Elaine, any pressing concerns that you would like to share since you always give great feedback. But otherwise, anyone else as well, feel free to just drop them in. It doesn't have to be specific to what was just presented. Diamond NFT is not updated and Arcaden, yeah, it's not updated yet. So the new Diamond contract hasn't been deployed yet, but we are going through materials first, then weapons, and then the Diamond contract will be pretty soon. So we expect it probably by end of next week. We'll be converting all the existing diamonds, including the collectibles. Yep. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so some of you will be, called up uh, to test out the new minting feature ahead of time. So obviously, if you guys are interested to be a beta tester, if you're not already one, feel free to let our CMs know. We're happy to look at new applicants. But obviously, we have certain conditions, right? So you need to have a certain number of collectibles in order to test out a minting feature. If you have zero collectibles, please don't apply because you're not going to be able to help us. But yeah, we'll start reaching out to a few of you. Uh, Hyundai says, do not deploy in ZK EVM. Yeah, for sure. Totally aware of some of the issues there. I think the problem with crypto in general is that there's always so much new tech, but when implementing it, it's really hard to revert if things go wrong, which is why typically new token standards are, they're proposed and then look through for about 8 months to even a year before something is actually built on it, right? So, um, yeah, I mean, dynamic NFTs were something that we really wanted to do since day one, but the way that it works is it works by layers, right? In For 2D art, because all of their NFTs are done in Photoshop. Every trait is a different layer, so they just swap the layers out automatically. It's basically automated. But what we're doing is like a manual re-render of a 3D asset, right? So we're literally going above and beyond for our community members just to give them a very unique experience. Um, Not sure what to call it yet, but probably transformative NFT. I don't know. Trans NFT sounds kind of wrong. Hopefully, we can come up with a better name. um, but yeah, okay. Um, for sure, for sure. Feel free to leave any suggestions. I typically hang out in the Clubhouse channel when I'm not busy working on the project, but I think that is pretty much it for us today, guys. I appreciate you guys hopping on as usual, but if anyone has any questions after this session, feel free to drop them in Clubhouse. That's the best way to grab a hold of me. I think one other thing before we end off is we are looking into the availability for Salad POS. I know some of you have been asking for it. So If you guys are interested in purchasing Salad POS, like us providing a liquidity pool or whatnot, feel free to let us know as well because we want to know if there are people who are interested in it. Um, it is a lot of work and we have to deploy quite a bit of resources to get it out there. So as much as we love Elaine, uh, we probably wouldn't do it if he's the only person. But yeah, something that we're very excited about as well. And I think in terms of rewards, airdrops, like I mentioned earlier, not only sell at Diamond holders, but we have a bunch of exciting things coming out. Like I said, airdrop season is here or coming soon. And I think that's the best way to end off with, you know, promises of better things to come. And I think that's all I have for you guys today, man. Like, thank you guys so much for, religiously attending these sessions. I'm looking forward to the next one. And as usual, feel free to ping me anytime in Clubhouse. Thank you guys very much and catch you guys at the next one. See you later.